I'm George McCranie, serious injury attorney with offices in Douglas and Valdosta, Georgia. Today I wanted to talk to you about what it costs to hire an attorney after an accident. And I really wanted to talk with you about what does it mean whenever you see the advertisements or you hear them on the radio or television which says no fee unless we recover for you, or no fee unless we win your case. Okay? Now there's two types of expenses that a client's responsible for in an accident case in Georgia. The first basically is the contingency fee that the attorneys charge to represent the person in that case. Now, these are the expenses that the attorney has for their time in the case, but it's not paid by the hour. Okay, they're called contingency fees, and usually these fees are set up by percentage of the recovery, and usually if it's a case and it settles or gets resolved before suit is filed, normally it's up to 40% of the recovery. Now, after suit is filed and you get into either a trial or you get into an appeal or something like that, the contingency fees go up to around 40 to 45% here in Georgia. Now, that's because there's a lot more time involved in that case, a lot more time. Anytime that you're filing suit, especially if you're trying the cases, a lot more attorney's time is involved in that, and the attorney is taking the risk of losing, basically getting paid anything for the case unless they win. So if there's no recovery, the attorney is not going to get paid for all the time that's involved in the case. So that's what it means about no fee unless we win for you. The attorney wouldn't get paid those fees. But what I wanted to talk to you about especially is the second type of expenses or fees involved in this, and that's when you have an accident case, you've got certain out-of-pocket expenses that it costs money to pursue this case and to move it forward and get it to where you can either get a settlement or take it all the way through a trial and then the appeal. Okay. Now, these out-of-pocket expenses, these are what the attorney or the law firm will pay up front for the client. Okay. That way, the client who's injured, probably out of work, usually is in financial distress, the family's in financial distress, they're struggling to pay bills and keep kids in school. I mean, financially, they don't have the ability to be able to pay for all these expenses that come up whenever you're trying to pursue this case. And examples of these fees or expenses are paying the doctor's offices, the hospitals, the chiropractors, the whoever you have to deal with in the medical, the specialists involved in the medical, the surgeons, radiologists, paying for all those medical records. All right. Another example is when you hire experts in cases. Sometimes if you're in medical malpractice, you have to hire doctors involved. Sometimes you have to hire especially accident reconstruction experts. All right, and the attorneys would pay those out-of-pocket expenses, pay those up front for the client, so they don't have to. Another is deposition expenses. So if all the costs involved in going and spending 6-8 hours at a deposition, so the attorney will pay these expenses in order to pursue the client's accident case. Now, these expenses can be minimal sometimes. They can be pretty heavy. I mean, $10, $20, even $50,000 or more can be expended in pursuing an accident case like this to ever get it to where there's a recovery, either a settlement or a recovery from a jury award, or to that point after a trial. So now here's the thing: if there's a recovery in the case, the expenses are paid back to the law firm that fronted those expenses out of the settlement or out of the jury award. But the problem is if there's no recovery, then most of the time these expenses are still owed for what the law firm has paid to pursue this case. Now, and most law firms set it up so that they're reimbursed by the client even if the client doesn't get any money. And that's what I wanted to explain, because you need to understand that. And a lot of times recently we've had people come in that have settled cases or had other cases or had things happen, and they wanted to ask us about these expenses and why they had to be paid, and other people are wanting them to pay them back. And what I can tell you is that if my firm represents you in an accident case, that we have never asked to be paid back expenses. If we take your case, we're confident in the success that we're going to have in that case. And we've never asked anybody to pay those expenses back. I just don't think that's right. It's a situation where sometimes these things, especially if there was no recovery in the case, and you get into a situation like that, and you've got people who's hurt, their family's in bad position, the kids, I mean, it's a bad thing. We have never asked a client to pay those monies back. That's just what I wanted to explain. If you got a question about an accident case, feel free to give us a call. You can reach us at 833-927-6227. And if you have a question and you'd like a copy of my book, After the Crash, feel free to go online to McCranie Law Firm. You can fill out the form. We'll be glad to send you that book absolutely free. Now here's the thing, the book is free. It gives a lot of great information about an accident case, gives a lot of examples, how things work in Georgia, but a book is no substitute for an experienced attorney representing you if you've been injured in an accident. It's very important that you get an experienced, knowledgeable attorney to represent you, because the difference can be winning and losing, and it can be a bunch of money difference. All right, so you need to get the best, most experienced accident attorney that you can to help you in these type of situations. If you have a question, feel free to give us a call. If you've been injured in a work accident, been injured in an automobile accident, you've been injured on a motorcycle or hit by a semi-truck, we deal with that, all of these things. If that's happened to you and you've got a question, feel free to give us a call. We'll help you get answers to the questions that you have. Okay? Thank you. Again, I'm George McCranie, serious injury attorney with offices in Douglas and Valdosta, Georgia. If you have any questions, just give us a call. We'll be glad to help you.